The rain had started before dawn, soft, cold, and relentless. It drummed against the window of our house in Ballard, tapping like a nervous hand against glass. I'd been awake for an hour, staring at the ceiling, trying not to look at the empty side of the bed. Rachel hadn't come home last night. At least, that's what I told myself. But her car was in the driveway. Her phone was on the nightstand. And yet, the bed beside me was cold, untouched. I sat up, heart knocking against my ribs. The faint scent of her perfume, Daisy by Marc Jacobs, still hung in the air, too fresh to be left over from yesterday morning. Maybe she'd slept on the couch again. We'd argued last night, nothing serious, at least I didn't think so. Something about my working too much, about how she felt invisible lately. Words had been exchanged. Silence followed. But something about that perfume. Something about the stillness of the house. It didn't feel like a fight anymore. It felt like distance. Like absence. I got up and walked downstairs. The living room was immaculate. Rachel's throw blanket was folded perfectly on the couch. Her wine glass from last night was washed and drying in the rack. Everything was too tidy. Then I saw it, her sneakers by the back door, wet with rain. And next to them, her running jacket. Also soaked. But she hadn't run in weeks. That was when something shifted inside me. Not panic. Not jealousy. Just a quiet dread, the kind that seeps in and stays. Rachel and I had been married for 8 years. We met in college, she studied graphic design, I studied civil engineering. I got a job designing bridges. She freelanced from home, then started working for a marketing agency downtown. We built a life that, on the surface, looked perfect, a modest house, 2 cars, a golden retriever named Max. But lately, something had changed. It started small. A new phone password. Working late more often. Clothes I didn't recognize showing up in the laundry. And then the distance, emotional, physical, subtle. I tried to convince myself it was stress. Everyone goes through phases. But when she started dressing up for client meetings on Sundays, I stopped believing in coincidences. The worst part wasn't the suspicion. It was the pretending. Sitting across from her at dinner, watching her smile, talk, laugh, even as my mind replayed every unanswered text, every vague excuse. I'd always been the rational one. The calm one. But now, I found myself checking her phone bill. Looking for clues in silence. And the silence was deafening. Thursday night. I left work early, just to see what would happen. Rachel had texted me around noon, "Don't wait up, late client dinner." That was all. But by 6:30, I was parked half a block from her office, watching through the windshield as rain streaked down the glass. The building glowed warm and golden in the twilight. People filtered out, umbrellas blooming like dark flowers. At 7:10, she came out, hair curled, heels clicking, a dark red coat I'd never seen before. She looked beautiful. She looked like someone else's wife. A man followed her out. Tall. Confident. Probably mid-30s. He said something, and she laughed, a laugh I hadn't heard in months. He touched her arm as they crossed the street together toward a dim little restaurant with rain-fogged windows. I didn't follow them in. I just sat there, watching through the rain. My hands clenched the steering wheel until my knuckles turned white. I don't know how long I sat there after they disappeared inside. Maybe an hour. Maybe 2. When I finally drove home, the rain had stopped. But it was still raining inside me. The next morning, Rachel was in the kitchen, humming, making pancakes. Like nothing had happened. "Morning," she said, smiling. "You're up early." I watched her pour syrup on her plate. She looked radiant, almost too radiant. Her eyes sparkled in a way that made me want to ask, but I couldn't. How was your dinner? I asked, pretending to be casual. Oh, she said, good. Productive. Long. I nodded. Who was there? She froze for half a second. Not long enough for most people to notice. But I noticed everything now. Just a few clients. And Daniel, he's the new creative director. Daniel. The name stuck in my throat like a shard of glass. Later that day, I found him on her company website. Daniel Reeves. Divorced. Moved from San Francisco 2 years ago. Smiling headshot, neatly trimmed beard. The kind of man who said all the right things and meant none of them. That night, I went for a walk alone. The city lights shimmered off the wet pavement. My reflection stared back at me in every puddle, tired, hollow, smaller somehow. 3 weeks passed. The rain didn't stop. Rachel's excuses multiplied. Late meetings. Deadlines. Girls' nights. I stopped asking. She stopped offering. We coexisted like strangers sharing rent. Then one night, around 11:30, her phone buzzed while she was in the shower. The screen lit up with a text. Daniel Reeves, can't stop thinking about last night. I didn't open it. I didn't need to. My stomach turned cold. The truth was finally real. She came out of the bathroom wrapped in a towel, humming softly. When she saw me sitting on the edge of the bed, holding her phone, the color drained from her face. Evan, she whispered. It's not what you think. I stood up. Then what is it? She hesitated, then looked away. And that silence told me everything. She cried. I didn't. She tried to explain, how she felt lonely, how she missed who we used to be, how it just happened. I listened, but all I heard was the sound of my heart breaking in slow motion. It wasn't rage that came. It was grief. Grief for the woman I married, for the life we built, for the version of me that still believed love was enough. I slept on the couch that night. Max lay at my feet, restless, confused. Every time she walked past the doorway, I pretended to be asleep. In the morning, she left for work. But her suitcase was half-packed. Over the next few days, I went through the motions, work, home, silence. Then one afternoon, while Rachel was out, I opened her laptop. Emails, messages, photos. Proof upon proof. Each one a small, merciless cut. But one stood out. A photo. The two of them, laughing together at some winery. Her hand on his chest. The caption, "Rainy days are better with you." It wasn't rage this time. It was clarity. I printed the photo and left it on her pillow. No note. No confrontation. Just the truth, laid bare. That evening, she didn't come home. Divorce papers arrived 2 weeks later. She'd already moved in with him. I didn't fight it. The house felt bigger now. Quieter. I kept Max sold the ring. Cancelled our joint accounts. Some nights, I drove past that restaurant, the one where I'd first seen them together. It was always the same, warm light, laughter spilling out into the rain. Seattle kept raining. And maybe that's why I stayed. Because when it rains here, no one can tell if you're crying. I saw her again last month. Downtown. She was with him. They looked happy, or at least practiced at pretending. She didn't see me. I didn't hide. Funny thing is, I didn't feel anger anymore. Just a quiet sense of finality, like watching a movie you've already seen but can't quite remember the ending. That night, I went home and sat on the porch. Max rested his head on my lap. The rain started again, gentle, rhythmic, familiar. And for the first time in a long while, I felt something close to peace. They say rain in Seattle is cleansing. Maybe that's true. It washes the streets, the windows, the past. But sometimes, it doesn't stop. It keeps falling, again and again, until you realize it's not meant to cleanse you. It's meant to remind you. Remind you that love, like rain, can be beautiful, cold, and merciless all at once. And that when it falls twice, it never sounds the same.